Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Whew, here we are. We are at a peak in the astrological world because, as I discussed last week, it is the last eclipse in Libra, and we won't see it again for over a decade. So it's really a timely eclipse for all of us, and it might be a shorter podcast for me because, like all good eclipses do, it has shook my body. I have a head cold. I sound really delicious, so you're welcome. And I was reflecting a lot as I had a fever over the weekend. What exactly sickness is? What exactly, when our bodies do that, is it trying to tell us? And I think that there is this really powerful moment when we're sick to think, why does my body need this right now? And oftentimes, a lot of times, it's because there's something happening, a change, a shift, or we didn't treat ourselves well enough and our body needs to rest. And so if you won't do it, then the universe will do it for you. So here we are in eclipse week. And the main thing I want to focus on, because it is what the eclipse is highlighting for us and ending for us, is relationships. I want you to go back over the last year, because the eclipse season started in Libra early October of last year. And there was a lot of discourse and genocide and intensity in the world. But what was going on with you in your world? What relationships were beginning, ending, shifting, teetering, needing attention? And what has happened this year over the course of the eclipse, stripping away the need for as much pretending? Because we do a lot of pretending in relationships, whether we want to admit it or not. At one time or another, we're all pretending to be the thing that the other person's expectations of us are. We all have to be moms, dads, brothers, sisters, friends, lovers, husbands, wives. There's so many roles, coworkers that we take on, and there isn't always the space for all of it. There isn't always the time for all of it. And we don't wake up every single day and say, I am going to be the best fill in the blank that I can be today, because that's unrealistic. And there have been incredible markers this year indicating where the good relationships are, where the bad ones are, and what the in-between is. And the most important one, of course, is the relationship to yourself. Is the relationship that you have about yourself, is the self-talk, is the self-belief, is the self-structure you have created for your daily life and rituals. And I want you to think back over this year. Think about all the fights. Think about all the makeups. Think about all the pushing away that you've done of yourself or of others. And how has it reflected your deep desire and need for something different, for a growth spurt? You know, we allow our kids the growing pains of youth, but do we allow ourselves the growing pains of being an adult? Because we're still going to make bad decisions. We're still going to make right decisions. We're still going to feel the full spectrum of what being a human is on this earth. And this week, I want us so very much to go deep into our humanness, to go deep into what it is to be a flawed person just trying to make the right decisions for yourself. When we take those big leaps in our lives, hoping that it's going to lead us to somewhere so profound and beautiful. But in the bigness of what we want and in our hopes and dreams, we forget the smallness of what every day has to give us. And I guarantee you, if you think about where you were at 5 years ago, there are places in your life right now where you are that are exactly what you wished for 5 years ago. And to honor and bless the things that came into your life that were a big surprise that you had no idea and can't believe happened for you. And I want you to grieve the things you cannot believe happened to you. And the ways in which the things that hurt us the most this year were the things that grew us the most profoundly too. It's a big week of reflection. Eclipses, we're not asking you to manifest anything. We're not asking you to change anything. The modality of an eclipse is rest, reflection, and a ponderance of, for this eclipse being a solar south node eclipse, it's what we're letting go of. Last week was a lunar eclipse. It's what we're wanting more of. And it was in Pisces, which starts a new eclipse season for us. So what are our dreams, as I talked about last week? What are we building, manifesting towards? But this week is for letting go, is for forgiving, is for understanding that the endings had to happen so that new beginnings could come in. That sometimes the things that we're holding on so tightly to are the things that we're trying to leave us, the things that were moving against us. And our initial response when something moves away from us is to pull, right? If you're holding a rope and someone pulls on the other end, your instinct is going to want to be to pull back. But we have to go against that instinct sometimes and let go. Because a closed fist has no solutions, whereas an open one can accept grace. And I've always felt that way. We can't get anything done with violence, resistance. We only can move up the mountain when we let our bodies become limber enough to make the climb. When a woman is in labor, we cannot clench because that holds the baby in. At some point, we reach an apex in our laboring where we have to let go and release and let the baby come out. That's what this week really is. I want you to think about your relationships over the last year and what has left and what has stayed and what is struggling and what is not. And I want you to let go. I want you to practice letting go of the pain, letting go of the resentment, letting go of what isn't holding you back, letting go of the thing that is resisting you, whether it be a job, a relationship, a friendship, a partnership, a relationship that's familial or not, an ancestral relationship. Depending on where the eclipse falls in your chart, there are so many different areas of your life that this is speaking to. You can always reach out to me for a reading to find out where this most powerful eclipse has been in your chart and where to specifically focus on letting go. But it's not just about letting go. It's not just about that. It's about endings. And the truth is that endings can be really sad. You read your favorite book and you get to the end of it, and that can feel really sad. My son just finished the Harry Potter series, and now what do we listen to? And sometimes the choices of where to go next, of who to date next, of who to love next, of what job to go to next, of what dinner to eat next, you guys. Dinner will always be the bane of my existence because it's always there every day. I have to figure out what's for dinner. Anyway, I digress. But the truth is that the endings come all the time. And then I think what we fear the most is once we've had that out breath, the pause before the in breath. And that's what this is. It's a pause. It's time to watch the fall leaves. It's time to understand that they know something that we don't about composting what is dead. Because we try to revitalize what is dead. We try to hold on. We try to commit further. Because we never want to think of ourselves as failures. We never want to think of something gone wrong as a mistake. We never want those things in our lives, but those are the moments that define us because it is how we take that next in-breath that really matters. And there is this special moment right now where we can focus on this one pause before the next thing happens. This one pause of, I don't know where I'm going next. All of this calamity. I mean, look at what's happening in Asheville, the flooding and the pain and the need for community support, the need for global support right now. They're in a moment of shock. And what comes after that is awe, how people will show up for them, how the community gets rebuilt. There is just as much importance on how things get rebuilt as why they got destructed in the first place. And while this moment might feel very sad for you right now, or this moment might feel sentimental or melancholic, or you might feel lost, I think there's always a notion, especially in autumn, when it's time to take away, it's time to give away, it's time to get quiet, and it's time to understand that death isn't a monster, that death is our rebirth, that in the decaying forms the seeds for more growth to happen. And what phase are you in right now in your life? What have you had to let go of that you really didn't want to? What went away that you weren't expecting? And now take a pause, because we're not manifesting anything right now, you guys. We're merely suggesting to ourselves that there is something more for us, deeper, richer, I don't know if better, because we're all on different paths. Will the next chapter be the calamity? Will the next chapter be the prize? Will the next chapter be the next big thing? I don't know, because our lives are filled with chapters, and it doesn't read like a book all the time, because the trouble is we go through so much more calamity than one novel can hold. We go through an entire lifespan of heartbreaks and joys and mistakes and regrets that then get healed, because years from that time of the regret, we understand finally why that thing had to happen. I'm usually a real baby, you guys, when I get sick, especially with a stuffy nose. I hate it because if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see my face, but above my lip, I've got a cracked lip. My nostrils are sore and red. I sound weird. I don't even know how I sound because my ears are plugged, and I resist. Viva la sick resistance. I sit and I toil and I resist. But this time, the fever just took me, and I let it, and I just laid with it for a while, and I didn't medicate it, and I didn't try to salve it. I didn't try to make it less. For the whole day over the weekend, I just let it go. I just let it burn, baby, and I just let it take whatever it needed to take. And while I still don't feel lovely today, I did sick better this time than I've ever done it before, because I understood that this week is an eclipse, and I understood that there was something much bigger than my cerebral self could contemplate to let go of. And so my body did it for me. And the last 5 years of my life have been a huge transition of both the most amazingly beautiful, wondrous, happy things and the most devastating letting go loss of things and people and things that I held so precious for so many years, decades of precious people that have left and things that have gone awry. And there was something about this sickness this weekend that allowed me to burn through it different, that allowed me to feel that now I am in preparation for what's coming around the bend. And the truth is, I have no idea, y'all, what's coming up next. I struggle with that. I'm a planner. I have a Virgo midheaven. We're going to talk midheaven soon. I want to know what the next steps are and what I'm supposed to be doing. But the truth of the matter is, I just don't know. And so I'm taking this week to just let it all burn, to just be okay with not knowing, to trust that even in the darkest of times in my life, I have found a way to find happiness, to find love, to find peace, to find all the things that I need, because at the end of the day, my dearest of people, all of those things, all of those emotions are inside of us, and none of them can last forever, because we are not made to be in stillness. We are not made to be statues. We are made to be mutable and to move and to bend and to break and to glue ourselves back together and to find the next breeze to blow our way so that we can go somewhere new. That is what this week is about the humanness of it all, that you can't predict whether the next chapter is going to be the blessing or the next regret. I don't believe in regrets. I hate that I've been using that word a lot, because let me say truly and honestly that regrets are the things that resistance is made out of. That when you regret something, you're resisting the lesson that it was trying to teach you in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and throw regret out the window. But I'm going to say that a lot of people struggle with that emotion, and that it is a totally normal emotion to have, but that it is a gateway to your next chapter. If there is something you deeply regret, then that means you have not learned the lesson that it was trying to teach you, and that maybe this is the time that it will teach you, depending on how important the Libran structure of your life has been over the last year, depending on what's been going on with your relationships over the past year. So for me, my body did it for me. My body took the lead and it said, you are not going to feel good, my friend. But you can rest. But you can allow the uncertainty to fever away. You can allow this stuffy nose to keep you mellow, to keep you home at the end of the day, to keep you contemplative over what's to come. Because in my body, it feels like something big is on the horizon, and not just for me, for all of us. It feels like we're on this beautiful precipice of maybe this was some of the best times of our lives, hardest too, but that the next chapter is going to be something so new that we couldn't have even predicted it. And I'm resting now knowing that I am open to whatever that is. And are you? And these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. And how is your body? How is your soul? How is your mind helping to move you? I am an air fire person, so the body sickness is the only way that I can get taken down a few notches from the over thinking and toiling and worrying. And maybe you're an earthy person and it's engaging in an amazing conversation this week, or reaching out to a loved one you haven't reached out to in a while, or writing a goodbye letter, or there's all kinds. Fill in the blank here. Wherever you lean, what is the opposite that your body, your soul, your mind could need to facilitate a new perspective? Because it's coming. The cool thing about astrology is that it comes whether we're aware or not. But the cool part of listening to a weekly astrological forecast is that then when these things happen, you don't feel so alone. You can say, oh, this is an eclipse week. Of course, this shit's happening to me right now. Of course, I got sick this weekend. Of course, fill in your blank, because the energy moves you. The moon cycles move you. The stars are always moving us, whether we want to be aware of it or not. And it's like good news, bad news, because nobody escapes it. You just have to deal with it. But it sure feels good to have star friends where you know that these things are happening and that they are for a purpose. They're not for nothing. And so the card I pulled is Message in a Bottle with my chipping nail polish. You guys, I'm the worst Libra ever. I cannot keep up with the fashion, with the pretty, with the that stuff. Oops. Anyway, Message in a Bottle. Here we are. So I want you all this week to get very quiet, to get very focused on nothing at all, to get very centered. Eat really good food. Curl up with your family. Rest a lot. Take naps. Drink water. Do the things that are very fundamentally supportive so that when these messages start coming, because they will, when your inklings, because now we are in eclipse season with Pisces moving through, which is all about the intuition. So when these aha moments come, I want you to be ready for them. Today, Monday, is a Mercury Cazimi, which means that Mercury, our thoughts, is right in the sun. So we can have some epiphanies, big ideas, moments. Listen to these, write them down, don't ignore them. Because all of this is also right where the South Node eclipse is. It's kind of crazy. We've got all of this energy, and the moon is coming too. So soon it'll be the moon, Mercury, the sun, right at the South Node in Libra during this eclipse. It's a lot of Libra. It's a lot of new thoughts, new feelings, new personas, because Libra loves to change their mind, okay? Libra doesn't want to be held to one opinion because Libra loves to change their mind. Libra loves to hear the other person's perspective. Libra loves a good debate, not a fight, but a debate. Libra always wants to hear the other side. So what is the other side saying that maybe you haven't been listening to or you haven't had access to yet? These are my invitations. Listen to the messages. Prove yourself wrong a couple times. Change your mind more than a couple times. And be open to just allowing the next chapter. Instead of forcing it, allowing it and feeling the difference between when you are moved by the universe versus when you are trying to move it. I guarantee you will go more gently into the good night if you just allow it to unfold instead of always having to push yourself into the mix, into the eye of the storm. Just let the storm be you. Be a beautiful thunderstorm, because after those comes the rainbows, and the clearing of the energy and the ozone becomes something different, and so can you. Good luck this week. May the odds be ever in your favor and in mine, and may this stuffy nose abate soon. Please like, subscribe, share me. You know, we're all manifesting stuff. This is my manifestation. I dream. The dream seeds of these podcasts reaching far and large, larger than I could ever imagine, is ever present in my own psyche. And you can help by your participation, by your listening and your support. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week.